Hey, everyone. Welcome back. Today, we're diving into the world of rare and valuable coins. Ever wondered if your pocket change could be worth thousands? Well, we're taking a look at 3 Washington quarters, each with unique histories or errors that make them incredibly valuable. Let's get started. Let's kick things off with the 1984 Washington quarter. Now, you might be thinking, 1984? That's not really a rare year, right? Well, you'd be surprised. This particular coin has a fascinating story behind its value. In 1984, the U.S. Mint produced a large number of Washington quarters as part of its regular coinage. But while most of the quarters from that year are relatively common and not worth much more than face value, some of them have a significant error that makes them incredibly valuable today. This mistake was due to a double die error during production. In simpler terms, a double die occurs when a coin's design is struck twice, resulting in a double impression on the coin. It's like seeing a blurry, ghostly version of the image next to the original one. Imagine looking at a coin and noticing the date, 1984, has a second, slightly offset copy next to it, almost like the year is doubled in the most curious way. It's the same with the word Liberty and the other features on the coin. Instead of being crisp and clear, the lettering and the design have a unique doubled appearance. This is exactly what collectors are on the lookout for, and it's what makes the 1984 Washington quarter with a double die error so desirable. What makes this coin so special is that this type of error is relatively rare. Coin production is typically very precise, so when a mistake like this occurs, it's a standout. And that rarity is what makes this coin so valuable. While there were millions of Washington quarters produced in 1984, only a small number of them feature this double die error. This means the chances of finding one in your pocket change are slim, but if you do, you could be sitting on a hidden gem. You might be wondering, how much could a coin like this actually be worth? Well, depending on its condition, a 1984 Washington quarter with the double die error can easily fetch $1,200 or more at auction. Sounds surprising, right? After all, 1984 doesn't sound like the kind of year that would produce ultra-rare, high-value coins. But in the world of coin collecting, small errors like this can make a huge difference. The value of a coin is often determined by the rarity of the error, and in this case, it's a mistake that only a select few quarters from that year have. But remember, the condition of the coin is key. Coins that have been worn down or circulated a lot won't be worth as much as those in near-mint condition. Collectors are particularly interested in coins that are well preserved and show minimal wear. Even the slightest signs of wear can decrease the value of the coin by hundreds or even thousands of dollars, depending on the specific circumstances. A coin that is free from damage or noticeable wear will be worth a lot more, which is why the right grading is so important in determining its true value. So, how can you spot this double die error? The most obvious place to check is the date. If you notice that the 1984 appears slightly doubled, with a ghost image just to the side of the main one, there's a good chance you found a valuable piece. It's not always obvious, so a closer inspection is essential. You'll also want to check the lettering of Liberty and In God We Trust to see if any doubling appears there as well. Keep in mind that these double die errors aren't always easy to spot, and it may require a magnifying glass or a jeweler's loupe to really get a clear view of the details. The best advice here is to check every 1984 Washington quarter you come across. It's worth taking a closer look, especially if you find one in good condition. With a bit of luck and a trained eye, you might just have one of these rare error coins. And who knows? It could be worth more than you ever imagined. Next up, let's talk about the 1996 Washington quarter. You might think, 1996. That's a relatively recent coin. How can it be worth thousands? Well, just like the 1984 the 1996 Washington quarter has some unique traits that make it incredibly valuable, and it all has to do with its rarity and a specific error. In 1996, the U.S. Mint had a little hiccup in its production process that resulted in a lower-than-expected mintage of quarters for that year. Normally, the mint would produce millions of quarters, but something unusual happened. The mintage was so low that only a few coins were struck with the P mint mark from the Philadelphia Mint. This is what makes the 1996 P Washington quarter so special. Now, you might be wondering, what's so significant about the mint mark? Well, before 1980, most U.S. quarters didn't have a mint mark. But since the late 20th century, the mint started marking coins with a D for Denver or a P for Philadelphia to show where they were struck. However, in 1996, due to some production delays and lower demand, only a small number of these 1996 P quarters were ever made with the P mint mark. These coins are extremely rare today because of that low production. In fact, fewer than expected were even put into circulation. To make matters even more interesting, some of the 1996 P Washington quarters feature additional mistakes, errors that make them even more desirable. Some of these quarters were struck with features like an off-center design, meaning the images on the coin were misaligned when they were struck. Others have been discovered with doubling on the date or lettering, making them a double error coin, which only adds to their value. These additional features are part of what makes the 1996 P Washington quarter so sought after in the numismatic world. You might be wondering, how much is a 1996 P Washington quarter really worth? Well, if you manage to find one in top condition, it can fetch a pretty hefty sum, $2,000 or even more. The value depends on factors like the condition of the coin and whether it has any additional errors. When you consider that a typical 1996 P quarter might only be worth a few quarters, the high price tag for these rare pieces is a reminder of how important rarity is in coin collecting. Collectors are constantly on the lookout for these rare error coins, and they'll pay top dollar for one that is in excellent condition. If you happen to have one of these in your collection, it could be worth taking it to a professional coin appraiser to find out its true value. You never know, you might have a rare treasure on your hands. Given the value these coins can reach, it's no wonder why collectors are so eager to find them. These rare finds represent not only a part of history but also a valuable investment for the future. Whether you're an experienced coin collector or just starting out, the 1996 P Washington quarter is definitely a coin worth keeping an eye on. Alright, now we come to the crown jewel of the bunch, the 1968 No Mint Mark Washington quarter. This coin is a true enigma in the world of U.S. numismatics, and it's one of the most intriguing error coins out there. The reason it's so valuable has to do with a strange mistake that occurred at the U.S. Mint that year. In 1968, most quarters had a mint mark, either a P for Philadelphia or a D for Denver, indicating where they were produced. But some quarters struck at the Philadelphia Mint that year didn't have a mint mark at all. That's right, just a standard quarter design, but with a blank space where the mint mark should have been. Now, this is where things get really interesting. The absence of the mint mark made these coins stand out, and collectors quickly realized that the 1968 No Mint Mark Washington quarters were extremely rare. The reason behind this mystery is still debated, but many believe it was simply an oversight during production. Whether it was due to a malfunction in the minting process or an unintentional mistake, the outcome is the same: this is one elusive and valuable coin. What makes the 1968 No Mint Mark Washington quarter so special is its rarity. A very limited number of these mint markless quarters were produced, and they didn't circulate widely. As a result, they're highly sought after by collectors today. It's an example of how sometimes, a small production mistake can lead to a huge demand. So, just how much is a 1968 No Mint Mark Washington quarter worth? Well, in excellent condition, this coin can fetch around $3,750 or more. A coin in mint condition is a true prize for collectors, and the rarity of these 1968 No Mint Mark quarters makes them highly desirable. Beyond just their rarity, these coins hold historical value too. They serve as a reminder of the unpredictable nature of coin production, where an imperfection can turn into something far more valuable than anyone ever expected. So, if you come across one of these coins, don't let it slip through your fingers. You could be holding a true treasure. Conclusion. So, there you have it. These three Washington quarters, the 1984p, the 1996p, and the 1968 no mint mark, are just a few examples of how small errors or rare circumstances can make certain coins worth big money. Whether it's a double die, low mintage, or a missing mint mark, these coins tell unique stories of the US Mint's fascinating history. If you're into coin collecting or just stumbled upon one of these rare beauties, make sure to get it checked out by a professional appraiser. Who knows, you might just have a small fortune in your pocket. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and hit that notification bell so you won't miss any of our future videos on coin collecting and all things numismatic. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.